What is going on, people? It's Elmodern Trades again. I know this class is going to be pretty slow today, and how I know that is because a lot of people are coming back from convention right now. So this class is keeping it simple Sundays, aka back to the basic Sundays. All I'm going to be showing you guys is how trend lines fit into the grand scheme of things, like diagonal trend lines. I love diagonal trend lines. The reason why I do is because they play such a big role when it comes to trading. I'm going to actually share my screen with you guys, which is going to be, let me see, what am I sharing? I'm sharing my gold markup. Don't mind my ghosted out harmonics. I actually went through and I changed a few things to make life simpler. So I got examples for you. I brought examples. Hold up. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for in this chat really quick. I'm not going to be covering anything really harmonic based, but this is just to show you guys for future reference how I will be setting up things if I can actually find what I'm looking for. And if I can't find what I'm looking for, I'll just show you guys on the charts because it'll make life easier if I can actually find it though. So scroll. Here it is. Bam. Now, here we are. From now on, this is how I'm going to be setting up my harmonic patterns on my charts. If you see yellow and blue, know it's a Gartley. We don't have to ask that question at all. If you see orange and black, well, black/orange, it is a bat pattern. We won't have to ask the question about what kind of pattern is it and what it is. If you see purple and blue, it is a cipher. These are the only 3 patterns that I currently trade. I'm not trying to add any more. And even more recently, I've only been trading the Gartley. And then when I see a cipher, I've been adding the cipher in. Now, I do that to show that you only really need one pattern to make you money. You don't have to be a harmonics guru and find all 8 to 15 patterns. I'm exaggerating. You need to find all those. I'm just showing you guys that this is all you need right here is a few patterns to make it. But tonight I'm actually not showing patterns. What I'll be doing is showing you guys about these trend lines in here. Now, for you guys who just hopped on, I know this class is going to be really slow. And the reason I'm talking already is because I'm doing a recording. I'm not crazy. I'm not sitting here talking to myself. But what I'm be showing is how to incorporate these diagonal trend lines into your trading and your charting. Now, if I'm requested to go over some harmonic patterns, I might. And if no one else hops in this class, it's 100% fine with me. We can make the Q&A thing. But I just did an hour class right before this too. So yeah, I'm doing these back-to-back, baby, back-to-back hour-long classes. This one here might not actually be a whole hour because I'm keeping it simple on Sunday. I'm not going to sit here and go through and mark up this whole chart again because these charts are already marked up already. But what I will start off with though is showing this cipher pattern that I have on gold real quick to hop this off. Now, I just dropped this in the chat recently, but there is a cipher pattern right here on gold. I got my X to my A, meaning X up here. That is huge, but X up here, I'm gonna take that down a little bit. That's too big. X to A, and this is just for future reference of when price hits my point. I'm actually not a big trader of the cipher, but you know the cipher happens a good bit too. And my retracement on this B right here, all I need is a 382 touch. It broke it. Now with that information, I can erase my first fib and fib from A to X, which that's an ugly fib, but it gets the point across. A to X. I need my C point down here to be past 1272, which it is. Right there. Leave my box right there. I can erase this fib now. Last fib is going X to C. That's the whole movement. Now my entry on the cipher pattern is 786. So D is at 786. Now I can grab my pattern tool and go through and draw this bad boy X to A to B, B to C, C to D. Whenever price hits up here, which it might be sooner than later. Looking at this though, price might actually go up here and touch this diagonal trend line right here and then turn around. we shall see though, but that is my cipher pattern that is potential going for a sell in this zone, which if I look, I might actually have a little zone I didn't draw right here. Let me see. No, that's a lower one. But whenever price gets up in this area to this D, we're selling. Oh, there's a zone right there too. If I move this up, let me see. Yep, zone right there. So yeah, that's our sell point. Right? Ciao. That's my entry. I'm gonna sell on my cipher pattern. When price gets right there, I'm gonna type my pending order in and rewrite it from there. But what I'm going to be doing is showing you guys about these trend lines and how they have been much, I'm not gonna leave it on here, much respected. I'll just ghost this bad boy out real quick. So if you guys look at my charts, there are trend lines everywhere. Now, how I even get to these, I had people ask me before, what do I draw these based off of? My trend lines are actually based on wicks. I'm trying to go through and erase all these while I talk, which is hard to multitask. My trend lines, though, are based off of the wicks on the patterns. Well, the wicks on the chart. Ooh, it looks crazy. That's how many lines I have on my freaking charts. So let me go. And how I start these off, I might erase this and start a new one. I will do that because that's too much work. That's too much stuff on there. Let me load up a new one. I'll go to this one. What is this? Oh, this is a very old chart. Don't even have any patterns on it. Oh, this one back here that popped off nicely. But look how long ago I drew this. This doesn't have any diagonal trend lines on it. It has a few, but not my main ones. So I want to erase all this off of here. Delete. So daily time frame, I'm gonna go through and draw a few key levels just so I can have this marked up nicely for you guys before I show you how these diagonal trend lines work and how price respects them so heavily. I'm gonna go through and draw my daily level. I'm just looking for my key points really quick, and I'll make this real fast because we do this every week. And for you guys who don't know that I do this every week, I have a YouTube channel, which is at Elmodern Trades, which will show you guys how to do these levels of support and resistance on here. And how do you know when you have a good one, a nice good level. Now, again, I'm just going through and drawing these quick just so I have a point of reference when I go through and draw my other things on here. So I go down to my 4 hour, and I'm doing the same thing. Look at my 4 hour preset. Oop, not that one. Doesn't need to change. And go back to this. Bam. So my 4 hour preset. Let's try this again. My 4 hour right there. Bam. Also, if you guys have any questions, drop the questions in the chat because that's what the chat is there for. But drop a line right there. Drop a level right here. This is all I kind of really need to show you guys what's going on. I can drop one down here too. Might adjust that a little bit, but you guys see the level, right? All those wicks being tapped right there. It's a nice level right there. Now I'm dropped down to the 1 hour, doing the same thing really quick. Again, flying through this. This is like the express version of this because this is not the basis of today's class. So bam, level right there. Price is actually right at that level right now. Nice. Go through here, same thing. Adjust it a little bit, but you see prices going through the wicks of all that. I'm gonna do one more right here, and this is gonna be it for real this time. No, I lie. Right there, bam, and right here. So now we, oops, not that one. Now we have that established diagonal trend line. So the diagonal trend lines is what I do when I come on here. I'm gonna grab my trend line tool. I usually start from my daily. And all I'm doing is I'm looking for a low point and a high point. And I'm looking for my low point. This is kind of like something you kind of have to eyeball. You're looking to find price moving at an angle. And price moves at an angle or diagonal a lot. So you can grab trend lines from any point and drag it across. If I grab from right here and drag it up, I'm just trying to see where it's going at. Like for instance, that's a good trend line right there. What makes this a good trend line is I have multiple touches on it. I have, ooh, that's moved kind of wonky just now. I have multiple touches on it. You need at least 2 touches on the trend line for it to be valid. Now on this one, I have 1, 2 right there, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right there, and 8 on the break right there. Look at that break. So I have 8 touches on the trend line. That's a valid trend line right there. That's actually a pretty strong trend line. And you see that price broke it, retested it. The good old trend line move, the break and retest, that happens multiple times. So with that being said, I can go through and actually draw multiple versions of this. Now, what I found, which is pretty cool thing that happens is if you just control and copy this over, a lot of times the trend, it just matches up perfectly. Like for instance, if I take this same line and drag it up, holding down control and dragging this line over, look at that. So I just took the same trend line. I'm going to extend it in both directions and do long trend line. Extend both of these in both directions. And the reason why I do this is because they seem to come back into play a lot. So I extend it out in both directions. But look, this is the same diagonal, the same angle of trend line. I just copied it over, and I'm going to actually, I will turn this part right here off just to show the example. Look, this is the same trend line. I copied over, and look at the same, look at the touches on it. It's not the same exact touches, but it just shows you that these trend lines come back into play over and over again. Look at all the touches on this trend line. Even right here, there's a little wick right there on it. It was tested. Nice and simple. Now get up off there, get off there, get off there. So I can take the same trend lines and copy them over multiple times to see my trend and how it works. Look at that, same thing here. Look at all those touches on that trend line. Nice and clean. But what I found on gold was gold follows these trend lines heavily, like strongly, follows these diagonal trend lines, and it follows, it hits these levels of support and resistance so many times, it's ridiculous. So what I did on gold was, how I have so many lines on here is, I take my same lines that I have, and I was just copying them up. I want to say the ones I have on my main chart are a little bit different angle than those ones, because that's just kind of proving that you can draw them almost on any chart. Let me go to my main chart up here on gold. Yeah, I have way more lines on here. So on my main chart on gold, which I will go to on, let me see, this one. Yeah, my main chart on gold, I went through and I copied that same line over and over and over again. See all my patterns in between here? And you see how price is moving in respect of these lines. Let me go through and hide this. Which one am I on? Actually, I need to hide this one, same one. These are the same two charts, by the way. Move down to my 15-minute. So I have, what I do is I copy my same daily lines on my 4-hour and my 1-hour. When I copy on the 1 hour and I see that all these 1 hour points are hitting it, for example, right here, while these 1 hour points are hitting, because my 1 hour line is going to be green, all these points in the 1 hour are hitting these over and over and over again. I copy my same daily trend line, but I use this as 1 hour trend lines. But it just gives you an idea of where price could possibly go or may want to go next. Like on this whole move up here, this whole big move. Let me go to just I actually go to my arrow. This whole move right here was all off trend line rejections. Look, it started at a trend line rejection at a daily level. This is a black daily diagonal trend line right here. Make this nice and fat so you guys can see it. All these black ones are dailies. Look how price like completely just danced up to these trend lines, back to back to back. Let me go to my arrow. This move started at a trend line, went and broke a 1 hour trend line, which is right here. See this green one? This is a 1 hour trend line. Broke it, retested it, pushed up to the next 1 hour trend line, rejected to a daily trend line, then pushed up straight past this daily to another 1 hour trend line. All these trend lines are literally the same angle trend line. And even when price decided it wanted to come back down, what did it do? When price came down, it hit brakes. It hit its brakes right here at this trend line. Let me ignore this blue line real quick. I'll erase this because it's not important right now. But look, when price came back down, it hit this daily trend line, rejected it. Then it had the good old bread and butter move, which is the break and retest, which is right here. The break and a retest. And even that break went to another, what is this? It went to another 1 hour trend line. Like this is, again, this is all the same trend line controlled and copied at the same angle and just placed at points where price has been tapping it at. So look at this. Price came down there and rejected and pushed back down. And every single time it's been going back to the trend line. This even came back through all this motion. Price came back. That's definitely the wrong line. But price came back down and over to the daily trend line, and then to 1 hour trend line, back to back to back. Now, again, this is just giving you hindsight of what price could possibly do, because this is actually all jumped off by a pattern I had down here, a little cipher pattern. Let me show this real quick. Where's it at? There's a very ugly cipher pattern right here that jumped all this movement off. That had the perfect entry on it at 786. But these trend lines come into play a lot. On my last my last Sunday/Monday session, I think I did it last Monday instead of Sunday because the hurricane was here. I showed you guys how the pip pop happens. And I call it the pip pop. I mean, it might be called something else, but I call it that because I noticed that when on points where diagonal trend lines come together with the levels of support and resistance, something happens, aka I call it the pip pop. It might be another name for a nice rejection or whatever. I'm trying to find an example of it. But there's a point where these trend lines come together. Look at that. This is another example of trend lines coming into play, how price dances between these trend lines and comes back to them and retests them and break and retest them over and over and over. But there's points where a good entry for a trade is points where price, now this is not guaranteed, it's not a guaranteed move, but it happens a lot though. Points like this where price of a horizontal trend line, a horizontal level of support and resistance, and a diagonal trend line come together and price rejects it. That happens again a lot. I'm trying to find, I have an example on here somewhere where it's just like back to back to back happening over and over and over. I got so many lines on so many of these. Oh yeah, here you go. This is a good example on NZD JPY of these points where price comes together at, like here. Price came together, big rejection. Right here, price came together, big rejection. I'm pretty sure if I go through and draw all of these trend lines that's on here, look at that. It just happens so much. Like, and again, I'm not saying this is a guaranteed move, but what I'm saying is that when something happens this many times, you have to take notice that you have points where diagonal trend lines come together with a level of support or a level of resistance, and price just rejects hard. But look at that. And maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it's a phenomenon. You know, there's something to be said about it. But just on this one pair, there's so many instances of that happening over and over and over. Now, I can literally go through on any of these charts and draw probably hundreds of trend lines, but that would be counterintuitive because then at that point, the chart would just be messy. Now, I always incorporate these trend lines into my harmonic patterns, because even when, let's say I have a nice entry zone on something. What is this pattern right here? Let me see what this is. Let me see. This might be a bat. It looks like a bat or a gartly. Let me see. Let me fib this out real quick. Like, this is a bat pattern. So bat pattern's entry is 886. Look what 886 is at a daily level of resistance. So right here, I have a daily level of resistance, and I have a diagonal trend line. No, they're not at the same spot exactly. They're not at the same spot exactly, but I know that if I have my entry up here at 886, I know there's a high probability that price is going to reject off one of these. Either it's going to reject this, it's going to reject this diagonal trend line, or it's going to reject this daily level. It just happened to be that it only wicked this daily level. I got too far to the side. It only wicked this, this diagonal trend line. It only wicked the daily level. Now, this pattern was jumped off by the coming together of these two levels. You see it right here, price pushed up from this diagonal trend line to this one, and again wicked the same exact thing and started this move. Like, if you once you get really good at doing these diagonal trend lines and doing these levels of support and resistance, like it will make your life, your trading life, very much easier. Let me go to, what is this right here? I got right here. Looks like a Gartley pattern. And this pattern pops off again, like a 15-minute. Yeah, it was. Okay, this pattern popped off again. at on a diagonal trend line. Look, that's where it started at, on a diagonal trend line, and it went and retested on the bottom at a diagonal trend line. Went to a level of resistance, finished the pattern, and went again right to a diagonal trend line, back to back. That's literally just how simple these diagonal trend lines work. Let me zoom back out. I think I'd be talking too much during the day. My freaking throat be hurting by the time I get on class. Too much talking. Let me see what I had on here. Now, again, one of the plus sides of these diagonal trend lines is I can come on here. Let me hide this again because that is very bold. I can go in here and control, copy, and just see, like, you don't have to leave it on here. Just control, copy, and see where price went at. So again, on this, I'm looking for wicks. There's a wick right there. There's wicks all right here testing the same diagonal trend line. So let me go up and see what else I got. Did price ever come back in that same zone again? Nope, it didn't. But again, I keep these extended for a reason because I know there's a chance that price can come back to this. Let me erase this one right here. I think I had this drawn for a reason. I did now that I see it. But it's crazy how price moves at these angles over and over, repeating itself. Let me see if I drop this right here. What do I got? Yep, this was a valid one too. I have my wicks touching it right there. I have a break and retest right there. I have a wick touching it right there. The wicks right here. This is a valid trend line. And look, it started up here. That's where it jumped off at. And this is all the same angle. I didn't mean to copy that line up there, but look at that. Same trend line again, dragging it over. Oops, didn't mean to do that. But same trend line again, dragging it over. And what do I have? Same thing. Like, let me go down to the 4 hour. Might make life easier and clearer. This is the trend line right here I just drew. Well, I just copied over and make it nice and bold so you guys can see it. But look what I have. Again, same thing. Confirmations on it. Oops. Confirmations on it. All you need is, that's like a nice one right there. That was a culmination right there of 2 diagonal trend lines and a 4 hour level. Look at that rejection off of those. That's crazy. That is a, why am I struggling so much today for? There you go. Ooh, that was a 743 pip rejection off of those trend lines. Let me grab this and move that. But again, the same trend line. Look at that. This one I just copied over. Look at the respect of those trend lines. Even if you don't initially see it, just control and copy and see where it goes. Like, your chart doesn't have to look this crazy. I usually don't put this many trend lines on here, and if I do, what I do is I thin them out some, just so they're not like the focal point of my whole chart. But as you guys can see on here, these trend lines can go in any direction. Like this one right here is going. This is an upward trend. You saw price is respecting this going up, and then when it finally broke it at this point right here, it started a new trend. At this pink circle, started a new trend. The new trend was it going down. So like that's where these downward trend lines come in. See how price is going down from there? At this point, it was an uptrend the whole time. It's been price was riding the top side of that. Then it broke it, retested it, and had that big hard rejection. And it started this new movement down. If you guys ever hear anybody talking about like trends go with trend lines, but trends also is just basically showing the direction or movement that price is going in. Because price can be on an uptrend and price can be on a downtrend. And well, pricing, even when price is consolidating, it's still either on an uptrend or a downtrend, even when it's moving sideways. Because you can have consolidation in the middle of an up or downtrend. Let me see if I have any more good examples on here of some sexy trend lines. And I know some people don't use these because they don't want too many lines on their chart. I know I had a student before who always asked me why there's so many lines on here. But these lines are here for me, like this red line right here, that was for me. But I draw so many lines on here because I want as much information as possible. Like that's what I want, as much information as possible. The more information I have, I don't know, last time I did this one right here, but the more information you have, the more accurate of a trade you can make. I mean, it would be nice to come on a chart and just look at it like, hold up, let me just look at a chart like this Litecoin. No, yeah, it had a harmonic pattern on it. But just look at a chart like, let me see, I'm trying to find somebody I didn't mark anything up on right here. Look at this and draw like 2 lines in here and be like, bam, I know what's going to happen next. If you come on a chart and you see this, you don't know what's going to happen next at all. I mean, you can guesstimate that, okay, you have a level of support or resistance down here because you see that that's a pretty thick line and you thin that out some. You see that price has basically been riding the same point. Oh man, this is XRP. This is Ripple. Yeah, it ain't making no noise. But you see that price basically been stuck down here. Look at this. At one point, price was under this line and stuck under this line. Now, at this point, price is stuck over this line and just took a dip under it. But you can still get information from this. If I come in here, I bet if I draw a diagonal trend line, I didn't mean to take an arrow, but right there, that is a valid diagonal trend line right there. Let me go to the long trend line. Now, what makes this valid? Oops. Then my mouse be sticking. That's why it does that so much. But what makes this valid is, look at this. I have wicks tapping this over and over. All those wicks, all that information is showing that price on this downtrend. So the whole time people are freaking out about Ripple or whatever it is and not paying attention to the information that's there. Every time Ripple touched or came close to this diagonal trend line, what did it do? It pushed down. And this is gonna look real familiar to you guys when I show you guys Bitcoin. It did the same exact thing. It had a point where this must be 2017. Yep, this was January/December 2017 is when that big cryptocurrency bubble burst, when everyone just decided to sell off. And this is January when it was still riding kind of high before it started taking that dip. And all this is basically showing you is that it's on a downtrend the whole time. So people who didn't trade crypto I guess they couldn't realize there's a nice downtrend right there. But everybody who does trade it could. Every time price got close to this diagonal daily trend line, they could have been selling. And then what happened? This good old bread and butter move that I've covered before, the break and retest. Look at that. Break, retest on the same trend line. Price even came down and tried it again. It retested again and rejected it. So like even when you saw this price spike up right here, people who were in Ripple like, oh my God, price is going up, price is going crazy, I'm gonna be rich. People who traded it saw this right here and be like, okay, there's a break of a trend line finally. Now there has to be a retest. I mean, that retest, it usually always, I say usually always happens. It happens like 90% of the time. That good old break and retest. It's like one of the fundamental moves of this. Now, normally what price would do is start a new trend, but since Ripple has been pretty weak, what it did was started a new, looks like a new downtrend. Let me see. If I grab from here, looks like it started a new downtrend. Same thing, trend line. Look at that. Touch, touch, touch. Actually can bump this bad boy down a little bit. Because remember, all of these aren't like a specific point. They're more of a zone. This is kind of like price was in this zone right here when it came close to this trend line. Look at that. Price, at some point, price has to make a decision. Either it's going to reject it again. Like you said, it had a little rejection right there. It's going to reject it again, or it's going to break it. It's going to break it and start a new trend. Now, this happened to be on a new downtrend because right now price is under the previous low. So we'll see what happened with Ripple. I don't think people even trade Ripple anymore. I think Ripple might be done. Now, Bitcoin is the example I was using earlier. You see, I still have my giant circles on here. That back in the day, actually, this is price is at now, but back in the day, this is back when Bitcoin was doing this thing in 2017 up here when it was super high. Now I had this chart drawn up since summer of last year. The summer of last year? Yeah, it had to be summer of last year when I drew this chart up. So probably like July. So at that point, I drew this chart up when price was about right here. I noticed that Bitcoin was on a pretty steady and even downtrend all the way down. With this one, I literally only need these three major levels, which was all the black ones you see. This diagonal trend line, look at that. Price was riding on top of it. Price broke it right here, broke and retested it. Good old break and retest right in the middle of here. That's your break. That's your retest right in the middle of there. A person who is trading crypto would be all on top of that break and retest. But you see how price broke and retested it and price got stuck in a zone, was stuck in a bubble of when I hit the floor. Oops, wrong one. When I hit the bottom, reject off a level of support. You see that final support, hit the bottom, rejected, right back to the trend line over and over. You know how much money could have been made here? A whole lot. And this is before I knew anything about crypto. All I knew was that Bitcoin went crazy in 2017. In 2018, that's when all these moves right here happened. There's an opportunity for so much money here of just buying and reselling just off knowing support and resistance and diagonal trends. That's all it is. This was a downtrend the whole time. Now this green box, same thing. Price had to make a decision right here. Price was like, either I am going to, actually one more right here too, always end when it came up and then rejected off. Still found support right there. But price at this point is like, hey, I have to make a decision right here. Either I'm going to break and retest or I'm going to keep on with a downtrend. And right here, this is when Bitcoin just melted. Like it completely melted. And even with that, it came back to the same trend line again and rejected it and then pushed down and finally got the momentum to break through it, to break through it. And so at this point, this orange circle right here is my same level what Bitcoin was stuck on before of not wanting to break. It came back and retested again. Look, that's your good old break and retest. That happens over and over and over again. That's your break, and that's your retest and your rejection. With that being said, price started a new little downtrend right here. You see it? This is the new little downtrend of its own. This is when everybody was like, oh my God, Bitcoin is back at almost 14K. Everyone's like, oh, let me buy this when Bitcoin's at almost 14K. Why would you buy when it's at a high? When you see that, again, look at this. The new downtrend started again. And now it's doing the same exact movement. Stuck in between these zones. It comes down, pushes up. Comes down, pushes up. Stuck in the zone. Comes down, pushes up, comes down. And so, and again, at some point, Bitcoin is going to have to make a decision. Is it going to break and retest this trend line, or is it going to reject it and head down? But in the meantime, when these trends get started, this is an opportunity for anyone who trades crypto to make money, because crypto seems to be moving at a pretty steady trend when it gets into a trend. So I wonder, with that being said, if I go through and I copy this diagonal trend line, because this is the thing, I don't trade crypto, I just noticed the trend on here. So if I go through and I copy the same diagonal trend line, will it line up the same way that it does on with the Forex pairs? Let's see. And yes, it does. Look at that. Just by copying that one over, that gives me an opportunity to make so much money doing this, because it's just showing me that price moves the same exact way. Like when price comes to these lines, let me change the color of this one because I copied these on the 4 hour, so I'll make this a 4 hour one, which would be gold. Let me thin that out. Let me make this gold. Same here. Make this one gold too, and thin it out some. But also showing me is that with these same exact trend line setups, when price gets to these, this opportunity to buy and to sell. Like it's just that simple. And even with these, you have breaks and retests on them. And you have rejections, the same basic moves. Let me copy this one more time and see what I got. Let me see. Right there. Another one. Look at that. Look at the bottom side of this line I just drew. Look at all that respect on this diagonal trend line right here. All those rejections. A little break and retest right there. A nice rejection. Like there's so much opportunities to make money off here. I know my chart looks crazy right now. I have these red and blue circles everywhere, but there's so many opportunities to make money on this, just on buying and reselling these diagonal trend lines. So I definitely suggest, if you guys trade, or if you guys decide you want to dabble in the crypto, just notice the trends. All these lines right here in the middle that I went through drawing last summer. Again, I didn't really trade Bitcoin, but I was marking up this chart for a friend to show them how Bitcoin was moving. It's a person I knew who had a lot of money that they put in the Coinbase when Bitcoin was at like $9,000, and then they put money in Bitcoin when it was at $10,000, and then they made a rookie mistake and put money into Bitcoin when it was at, like, I want to say at its highest high. Now, most people who trade, you know that you do not buy anything when it's at its highest high. But if you don't know about it, I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. That's honestly what it is. But you don't buy anything at as high as high. You want to sell when it's high and buy when it's low. But if you're thinking that Bitcoin is going to go to 200K, like analysis, analysts keep on saying that Bitcoin is going to hit 200K this year. It's going to hit 100K this year. It's going to hit 50K this year. Now, people can keep on saying that, but honestly, they don't know. I mean, a broken clock is right 2 times of the day, every day. Like, honestly, that's what that is. Because if someone keeps on saying that Bitcoin is going to hit 50K or Bitcoin is going to hit 100K, and it actually does, think, like, you know what? I told you guys this last year is going to hit 100K. They're not actually knowing that, but just by them saying that, they're getting the opportunity to have that leg up to be like, hey, I knew this was going to happen. I said this was going to happen. It happened. But they don't know if it's going to happen or not. But what I do know is if you trade it, these diagonal trend lines literally shows you where price is going to go at. Like, just that simple. It's showing you where price is going to go at almost at this same exact angle. Again, this was the original one right here. And this is the new trend. It's a little bit more steeper in the new trend because this is a smaller time frame than this right here is. But look, the same difference. Now, just like how Bitcoin had to make a choice, well, how price had to make a choice right here, price will have to make a choice when it gets here too. What is it going to do? And this goes for not just crypto, but for Forex also. That's why I'm showing you on crypto, because on Bitcoin pairs, on a Bitcoin pair, it makes it so much easier because it's like straight right there in your face. Like, hey, price on the downtrend, price is breaking, retesting, and trying these same pairs, these same trends over and over and over again. Now, with that being said, do you guys have any questions? I think I hear crickets. Again, I knew this class was not going to be a big class tonight. A lot of people are still at convention or coming back from convention. I didn't expect a lot of people to be in this class tonight. I appreciate you guys who did show up tonight. Now, this thing, utilize these trend lines because they can help you out a lot. Like, I showed you how it worked on gold. They work the same way on every pair. Like, I draw trend lines on every pair. I was drawing this one earlier on AUD-CHF. This is on a naked chart. I actually erased everything I had on here and restarted it over just to show. But you see how price came together right there, rejected hard. Price came together right there, rejected hard. Like, that move happens so much time. If I copy the same trend line over, I can bet you that it's more points where that happens again. If I copy it right here, look at that. Price came together, rejected hard. And price cuts through these wicks, control, and drag this bad boy over. Same thing here. Look at that. Look how almost perfect that is. Even where price is at right now. Look how price rejected that trend line. It just happens over and over and over. And now what I do is I don't come on here. I know you might see some of my charts that have different trend lines, different direction. Those are probably older ones. But I don't come on here. I don't draw every single trend line in every direction. The reason why I don't do that is because at that point I would have trend lines everywhere. Like, if I draw this right here, this trend line right there too. You see it? Diagonal trend line right there. Goes through support, support, support. Then it breaks and retests it right there. Hard rejection off of that. I probably can copy the same one over. I probably can control copy the same one over and over again. But I go for the ones that showing the trend of where price is going at right now. Just like on gold, I have them all going up because it's in a nice little uptrend and price is following it. There'd be no point in me drawing these ones right here over here because it's not relevant to price right now. So yes, you can go through on every time frame and draw all of these trend lines on here, but this one right here, it's not relevant to price at all right now. But it just shows that at different time frames, if I drop down to probably the 4 hour, that's probably perfectly where this one is at. Yeah, that's when price was on a nice little uptrend. And you see how when price finally broke it and retested it and then made its way down on a hard rejection. Now, with that being said, I'm going to cut this class off right here and right now. I'm not trying to go all of these an hour. I'm trying to make these more of like a 45-minute thing because I am recording them for my YouTube. So I don't want them to be like an hour class. I'm probably gonna end up going to my YouTube and doing some probably like 10 to 15-minute videos just so you guys can be like, hey, I want to know about this. Go to my channel and watch that. Hey, I want to know about that. Go to my channel and watch that. Like, I might do like a 10 to 15-minute video just on trend lines, or a 10 to 15-minute video on entry, or a 10 to 15-minute video on the Gartley, or a 10 to 15-minute on the cipher, just so you guys can have something to reference and actually get some valuable information from it. And with that being said, I'm going to hop off here. My Instagram and everything is at Elmodern Trades. I cancel my own name. That's Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. That's everything is Elmodern Trades. If you guys want more information about like the stuff I do and how I trade, it's all on my YouTube channel. And with that being said, I will holler at you guys on Thursday, which will be a more advanced class, which will be about harmonic patterns. But I will see you guys on the next one. No problem, Joe. You're welcome, man.